In our recently published paper in Science, we brought together a team of researchers from around the world to look at what limits there are associated with aquaculture certification. The first thing we looked at was what limits there are in terms of certified production. And what we found is that around about 5% of global production is currently certified, although that is growing at quite a fast rate. More importantly, we looked at what the limits are of market demand for certified production. We see that that could be around about 10% of global production. And that's because we see a lot of demand in Europe and the US, but we don't see the same kind of demand in very important markets and very large markets like China. The other things we looked at were limits in terms of the very narrow take on sustainability that these standards have, and also the limits associated with inclusion of producers in developing countries, for example. We also looked at what solutions there are. What can we look at beyond certification? And there we put a focus on what role governments can play. Governments in terms of regulation, but governments also in terms of the national standards that they're producing and how these can interact with the global standards to move the aquaculture industry towards a more equitable, sustainable outcome.